Well, folks, he did it again. Against all odds and predictions, Donald Trump has made a stunning comeback. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the political waters, the waves of change have hit us once more. Donald J. Trump has splashed back onto the scene, reclaiming the Oval Office with a renewed vigor and determination. The year is 2025, and America's most polarizing president has returned for, as he put it, a triumphant sequel. His supporters are ecstatic while his critics are bracing for impact. Buckle up, because the next 4 years, or at least the first 100 days, promise to be a wild ride filled with unexpected twists and turns. Remember all those campaign promises? The ones that stirred up so much debate and controversy? The ones about building walls, bringing back coal, and revitalizing American industries that many thought were gone for good, and putting America first in a way that made our allies nervously eye the exit door, wondering what comes next. Yeah, those promises are back, baby, and they are more ambitious than ever. And this time, Trump has experience, a chip on his shoulder, and a Republican-controlled Congress eager to help him shake things up and push his agenda forward. Whether you're popping champagne in celebration or stocking up on canned goods in preparation for uncertain times, one thing's for sure, Trump's second act won't be boring. It will be a spectacle that keeps everyone on their toes. So let's dive into the whirlwind of his hypothetical first 100 days, shall we? Hold on tight, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Day one of Trump 2.0 started with a bang, or rather a flurry of executive orders signed with the gusto of a man making up for lost time. It was a whirlwind of activity, with pens flying and papers shuffling, as if he had a point to prove. First up, immigration, a topic near and dear to Trump's heart, or at least his bases. This was no surprise, as it had been a cornerstone of his previous campaign and presidency. Remember the Muslim travel ban? Well, get ready for version 2.0, expanded and extra crispy. This time the restrictions are broader, affecting more countries and more people. Next on the chopping block, funding for sanctuary cities. These cities, which refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement, are now in the crosshairs. Trump's message was clear. If you're not with him on immigration, you're not getting his government's money. Federal funds would be withheld, putting pressure on local governments to fall in line. And let's not forget the border wall, folks. This symbol of his immigration policy is back in the spotlight. Mexico might not be paying for it again, but that's not stopping Trump from pushing for its completion, even if it means dipping into funds meant for, say, education or disaster relief. Hey, priorities, right? The wall remains a contentious issue, dividing opinions across the nation. The message was loud and clear. Trump's back, and he's not here to make friends, especially not with immigrants or anyone who supports them. The atmosphere is charged, with protests and counter-protests becoming a common sight. Day one set the tone for an administration that promised to be as divisive as ever. The stage is set for a tumultuous term, with immigration at the forefront of the battle line. Week one saw Trump tackling another favorite target, environmental regulations. Remember his love affair with beautiful clean coal? Well, get ready for a full-blown revival of the fossil fuel industry. Pipelines, approved, drilling in protected areas, you bet. Climate change, fake news. Trump's message was clear. Energy independence trumps environmental protection, especially when it comes to boosting American jobs and sticking it to those pesky liberals who dare to care about the planet. Of course, environmental groups and scientists were up in arms, warning of dire consequences. But their concerns were drowned out by the roar of Trump supporters chanting, "Drill, baby, drill." The stage was set for a showdown between economic growth and environmental sustainability. A battle that would have far-reaching consequences for America's future. Section 4, Month 1, Executive Order Frenzy, Undoing the Past, Shaping the Future. Month 1 was a whirlwind of executive orders aimed at dismantling the legacy of the previous administration. Anything Obama era was fair game, from healthcare regulations to transgender rights. Trump seemed determined to erase any trace of his predecessor's policies, even if it meant creating chaos and confusion in the process. One day it was healthcare, with Trump gutting the Affordable Care Act and promising a beautiful, amazing replacement plan. That surprise never materialized. The next day it was education, with Betsy DeVos back at the helm, ready to unleash her brand of school choice and privatization. The pace of change was dizzying, leaving many wondering if Trump was governing with a plan or simply reacting to his every whim. But one thing was certain, he was making America unpredictable again, and the world was watching with a mixture of amusement and alarm. Section 5, Month 2, Capitol Hill Showdowns, Tax Cuts, Deregulation and Gridlock. Month 2 saw Trump turning his attention to Congress, pushing for his long-promised tax cuts and deregulation agenda. With Republicans controlling both houses, he figured it would be a slam dunk. But even with a friendly Congress, governing is never easy, especially when you're as fond of chaos as Donald J. Trump. Tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy? No problem. Gutting regulations for industries like finance and energy? Done and done. But when it came to more controversial issues like infrastructure spending or immigration reform, things got a little trickier. Turns out, even Republicans have their limits. And Trump's penchant for making deals with one hand and then tweeting insults with the other didn't exactly smooth the way for legislative success. Month 2 ended with a whimper, reminding everyone that governing, even with a supposedly friendly Congress, is harder than it looks on reality TV. Section 6, Month 3, America First, again allies wary as Trump redraws global lines. Month 3 saw Trump shifting his focus to the global stage, where his America First approach continued to ruffle feathers and raise eyebrows across the world. Remember all those international agreements and alliances that America spent decades building? They were the bedrock of global stability and cooperation. Yeah, Trump seemed determined to renegotiate them all, often via Twitter and usually at 3 a.m., causing a stir both domestically and internationally. Trade deals were torn up, tariffs were slapped on allies and rivals alike, and NATO was on the verge of a nervous breakdown as Trump questioned its relevance and demanded that member countries pay their fair share, shaking the foundation of long-standing alliances. Meanwhile, Russia and North Korea were treated to a confusing mix of bluster and flattery, leaving everyone wondering who Trump actually considered a friend or foe and what his endgame might be. America's allies were left bewildered and frustrated, unsure whether to treat Trump's pronouncements as serious policy shifts or the ramblings of a man who gets most of his foreign policy advice from cable news and social media. One thing was clear. The world was a more unpredictable and volatile place with Trump back in the driver's seat, steering the course of international relations with an unstable